I want to play you a little bit of something you said last year. Take a look.
I talk to President Biden, regularly, sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
Leader Schumer, what do you say to Americans who feel as though you and other top Democrats misled them about President Biden's mental acuity?
Oh, my God.
Keep in mind, this is NBC News, a.k.a. the protectors of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the Democratic Party. Well, I guess that would be MSNBC, but NBC, y'all right there. And then we have this lovely lady. I believe that's not, wow. I was getting ready to call her. Y'all know my girl, Rita, Rita Panahi, the one that's on, she does the Liberals Going Mad. This is, or Liberals Going Mad, whatever the name of her show is. But this is the lady that was interviewing Trump, that got the first interview with Trump since he won. Let's hear what she says. Let's hear what she says, because we've been noticing that a lot of the traditionally liberal mainstream news outlets have been changing their tune a little bit and have been more courageous in calling out a lot of the quote unquote BS that they may be seeing and that they may have condoned before. So let's take a look at this. And
I want to play you a little bit of something you said last year. Take a look.
I talk to President Biden, regularly, sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
Leader Schumer, what do you say to Americans who feel as though you and other top Democrats misled them about President Biden's mental acuity?
Look, we didn't. And let's look at President Biden.
He couldn't even allow her to get the question out. He couldn't even allow her to get the question out. Let's take a look at this. He's already responding. He's already responding. This is the guilty conscience. And you would think that, matter of fact, maybe you wouldn't think that. Let's just keep listening.
Look, we didn't. And let's look at President Biden. He's had an amazing record. The legislation we passed, one of the most significant groups of legislation since since Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, putting in 235 judges, a record, and he's a patriot. He's a great guy. And
he's a patriot. He's a great guy. What does any of this have to do with his mental acuity? What does any of this have to do? And this is the question that we have to ask. Clearly, we can look at Joe Biden right now and say Joe Biden is not running the country. Are we all comfortable in saying that? That Joe Biden right now is not running the country, has not been running the country. And when the recent report came out calling out his cognitive decline, saying that it was actually even impacted in the beginning of his presidency, where they have to let people know, hey, it's not a good day. We're canceling all of Joe Biden's meetings today. So let's say, so we can all acknowledge that. So clearly he may have a staff, he may have a team, he may have a group of advisors that are making a lot of these decisions. And some of the decisions that Chuck Schumer, when he says that Joe Biden, he's done this, he has a record of this. If you're saying positive things, then okay, some of the stuff that Joe Biden's administration may have done was successful. Some of the things that they have done you may deem successful. However, that's not the question being asked. The question being asked, and the things that people are concerned with, is who is actually making these decisions. Why are y'all trying to push Joe Biden when clearly his cognitive decline is out in front of the world, and y'all are still trying to act as if he should still run? This was, and I'm going back to, like, this is after the debate or even before the debate, when clearly these people, he says that he's spoken to Joe Biden a lot. So the question that I ask, we've kind of already covered all this, but the question that I ask is, maybe, do y'all think that they wanted Joe Biden to run just so they can keep this kind of shadow government that we always hear about? And let's keep going. Let's keep going, because I got a couple other questions, especially questions for people that supported the Democratic Party. But let's keep going and hear what he has to say.
And when he stepped down, he did it on his own because he thought it was better not only for the Democratic Party, for America. We should all salute him. We should all salute him.
Do you feel,
We should all salute him.
as we have this conversation today, that President Biden could serve another 4 years had he stayed in the race and potentially won?
Well, I'm not going to speculate. As I said, I think his record is a stellar one, and he'll go down in history as a really outstanding president.
I want to play you.
So, remember I said I had a couple questions for y'all Dems, for the people that support the Democratic Party. I got a couple questions for y'all. As I hear him talk, as I hear him continue to lie, deflect, whatever it is that you want to call it, how dumb does he think that the American people have to be? Like, how dumb must he think America has to be to hear what he's saying and to think that he's telling the truth, to ignore, I guess, what he's saying, or just to kind of say, you know what, he's bending the truth a bit, but we're going to continue to support. This is why the Democrats are losing, will continue to lose. This is why a lot of the Democratic politicians, not just the actual people, the people I feel like have been coming out more and more, giving their reasons why they think Kamala and the Democrats lost so badly. But in my opinion, the politicians, and some of them are calling it out, where my dad was telling me that there's been a few people when they're asked, why the Democrats lost, they'll say, they kept pushing these woke ideologies. The whole woke ideology, I do think that that's a large reason why they lost the election, especially when you look at Trump's number one campaign. His number one commercial was Kamala's for they, them, Trump's for you. I do think that was an important piece of why they lost. However, I think it's more of a microcosm. It's more of a microcosm in just showing that they are just out of touch with what the American people want. And there's a certain level of arrogance that comes along with it, where they do not care. They do not care what people are saying is important to them. They're going to push whatever it is that they want to push. And they think that because they're smarter and because people, I guess, have just supported them blindly, walking by faith when it comes to the Democratic Party, that they think they can do whatever it is that they decide to do and people still support them. And then you got a guy like Chuck Schumer who gets up here and says, oh, no, Joe Biden, he's fine. He's been fine. He has an outstanding record. He's going to go down as one of the best presidents. And that's not what you're being asked. And that's not what people are angry about being misled about. Clearly, his cognitive decline was apparent to you guys for a very long time. And because you hit it, there was no open primary. And then you pushed Kamala Harris to become your nominee. And you pretty much violated your own democratic process. So they'll continue to do it. Just wanted to use that as an icebreaker. I think it's interesting with NBC News now being a little bit more courageous about pressing these politicians that are on the Democratic side, where they used to protect them. Now they're pressing them about a lot of these issues. So I don't know. I guess my question would be for a Democrat, for somebody that supports the Democratic Party, how do you feel about this? Will you ignore it? Just like maybe Chuck Schumer's ignoring you and ignoring your questions? Or is there anything, and maybe this is the question to ask, is there anything that the Democrats can do to disrespect your intelligence, to not prioritize the things that are important to you? Is there anything that the Democrats can do to make certain Democrats look a different way? Maybe look towards a Republican direction, maybe look at voting for an independent candidate. Those are just the questions that I ask. What will it take? If not this, what will it take? So we'll move on from here. Let me make sure that I'm keeping up with the chat. Ant's in the building. Good morning, good people. Morning all from Uncle Brother. Uncle Brother sent over a dope piece comparing the colored free people in America compared to the slaves and their development over the years. We're definitely going to share a little bit of that. I woke up today And after my run, I was checking that out. So that was a dope watch. Antonice in the building. Shout out to Antonice. Good morning, y'all. Antonice wrote, of course they did. Uncle Brother wrote, don't believe your lying eyes. We didn't mislead you. This is exactly why I can't stand Democrats, politicians, period. It's really across the board. It's across the board. I would say that it's across the board politically, but when it comes to the last, I'd say 20 years or my young political life, it's definitely been the Democrats. The Republicans have more been willing to stand on certain things, whether you like them or not. Meanwhile, the Democrats, in my opinion, they're not even standing on the principles that a lot of the Democrats grew up with. And a lot of the principles that Democrats actually support the Democratic Party for, not wanting to go to war, wanting free speech. It's like they're hustling backwards, in my opinion. But people still support them, so I guess they feel that they can get away with anything. Anthony's wrote, like, dumb. They've been heavy gaslighting. They'd be heavy on the gaslighting. I agree. All right, so let's move on. We got Chuck Schumer. I believe we got 2 more icebreakers for y'all. Let's go. All right, so this one y'all are going to enjoy. This is one that we were going to touch on the other day, and I want y'all to hear this conversation about the Mississippi HBCU band that was invited to Trump's inauguration, and I want to get y'all opinion. But first, let me get Uncle Brother's comment. Politics has been formatted like team sports. We're supposed to stand behind our team no matter what. I agree, and it's the dumbest thing. You know what's so funny? Hold on, Uncle Brother. I'm gonna give you know what's so funny. Perhaps we've been disrespecting sports fans a bit too much. Perhaps we've been insulting their intelligence by even comparing what we're seeing on the political front to sports. And what do I mean by this? Sports fans, when I talk, I'm just thinking about over the last week. Listen, as a matter of fact, I met my young boy I met a young man. He's probably about like 11, 12 years old. We were at the beach throwing the football, and his name is Levi. And he was a Jets fan. I believe he was a Jets fan. Levi, don't get mad at me if it was the Giants. Neither here nor there. I just want to make the point. And Levi had the same sentiments or same disposition that a lot of sports fans have, where if their team sucks, like I've been running into a lot of Giants and Jets fans where they'll say, like, yo, they suck, they're terrible. Like, we can't. They will call out their sports teams. They will call out their sports teams even more so than people that have continuously supported the Democratic Party are willing to call out the Democratic politicians that are lying and misleading them, even when it gets called out right in front of their face. So perhaps we've been being a little bit unfair to the sports people, because I'll be totally honest, they've been more willing, at least in the conversations that I've had, to call out their teams that are not performing well compared to the politicians. And when it comes to the team, you know, they're willing to call out a team, and, you know, you would hope that the team is still trying their best. When it comes to these politicians, they're just lying. They're lying and doing certain things that are not in your best interest, and you still continue to defend them. The things that they're pushing, I've had multiple conversations about certain things that fall into this woke category over the last week with people that actually vote for the woke agenda. It's like, if you're voting Democrat, you're voting for the woke agenda, and they can't stand it. But it's like, so neither here nor there. Maybe we've been a little bit unfair to the sports fans. That's all I'm saying. All right, so wow, makes sense when you think blue no matter what. It makes you re-examine everything. Examine everything. I agree, Anthony. All right, so let's move on before I go off on another tangent. But I want y'all to check out this HBCU conversation around whether or not the black band, the HBCU band that was invited to Trump's inauguration, should participate. So I want y'all to hear a bit of this conversation. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon.